If you like this video, please consider supporting me on Patreon. For just $1 a month, your name can appear at the beginning of this and many other upcoming videos. You're not even trying anymore, are you? So after the huge premiere we got last week, I was expecting the show to take it easy for a while. Even if it's the final season, I know that not every episode is gonna be set up for the final battle. The show at its core is still about different characters developing relationships with each other, and Uprooted does a pretty nice job sticking to that core. The Student 6 are summoned by the Tree of Harmony to the site of its destruction, and the group are left wondering what to do now that it's gone. After a while, they decide to make a memorial for the tree, but they seem to have different ideas for how to do it. They proceed to try out their new ideas, but as you expect, they don't seem to be working out very well. So, will the gang be able to come up with a sound idea to commemorate the Tree of Harmony while keeping their friendship together? Chances are they probably will. What I really like about the episode is how it handles the Student 6 pretty well. In spite of getting sidelined a lot, when they're given a chance to just make an impression, they leave a satisfying impression. The montage where they have to get permission from their families and guardians to be in Equestria is a fun little montage. It doesn't drag out for too long, and each of the students interact with their family or guardian in a way that feels unique to each of them. We get Smolder proving her worthiness to Ember by beating someone in an arm wrestling match, showing how in spite of her time with other creatures, she still knows how to connect with other dragons. It's a nice bit of continuity where they remember everything in the Dragonlands revolves around competition. Ocellus has an adorable moment with her family, as we see how the changelings are still taking pony culture too literally while making it into their own culture. That's actually pretty clever now that I think about it. Gallus getting permission from Grandpa Gruff is pretty straightforward, considering how griffins just want their privacy and he was willing to do anything to get him off his property. But at least he didn't demand payment to sign the papers, so it's kind of generous of him. Silverstream interacting with her family is just the funniest bit in the episode. She explains the story through these silly doodles, and the music helps to make the out-of-context humor better as it really makes you guess how exactly she's explaining it. It makes you wonder if she often communicates with her folks like this and if they're always left this confused. Finally, there's Yona, who uses brute force to help her mother with her chores. It shows how she likes to solve problems in a direct manner involving her physical strength, but it also demonstrates her caring side by helping out her mother and taking care of her. There's even some moments where we get to learn about them individually. Silverstream, for example, is a really talented artist. Like, really talented. Of all the different ideas the students had for making a memorial, hers was a personal favorite of mine. Not only does she use the colors in a way that mesh really well, but she also paints them in a way that gives them form. It's unironically amazing and leaves a really nice impression. It's like those doodles from the montage were a sign of her artistic interest. Gallus comes across as an enthusiastic schemer trying to hype up the Tree of Harmony with all these ridiculous stories. It's actually impressive how he managed to get customers and set up a gift shop so quickly. He's shown to be full of surprises, and he also knows Twilight pretty well, getting the permission slips in advance since he figured she'd ask about it. Smolder is a really cool tomboy, showing off her fierce, strong-headed personality while still maintaining her sensitive side with her love for tea parties. She also seems to have a nice memory of the tree, making a pretty good replica of it despite not having any tools for it. Ocellus demonstrating Eastern culture she learned from the Feelings Forum counselor is a nice way to reflect on the experience she gained under the new leadership. And Yona continues to be just the best. Like, there are no qualifiers at all, she is simply the best. In my video on Season 8, I talked about how she was one of the few highlights because of how deeply her character was developed. She took experiences she had with the outside world and used them to grow as a person, showing how yaks can be more than big strong brutes. And a lot of that development is carried into this episode. She observes the misguided ways of the others trying to honor the tree while keeping her best memories of it in mind. When it falls apart, she tells them to stop thinking about the tree the wrong way and shows them what it truly meant to her. How it's the thing that connects their friendship together and how it represents their unity as a group of misfits. And even if the tree isn't physically there, they still have fond memories of what it did for them and how it kept them connected. There's also this one line that she says that actually really enlightens me about some of the yak culture.
Yaks know things not forever. That's why smash and rebuild.
At first it comes across as weird to reference the Lego philosophy, but when you put it together it actually fits into the story. And it also teaches a really nice moral. If something is destroyed, it may not actually be gone, and you can build something new out of what was left behind. They can rebuild the magic of harmony in the place where the elements were born. And with that, the cycle of the Tree of Harmony can begin anew. This is what Yona was trying to teach them all along, and it helps them learn that they can still make something that represents the tree's true meaning, in a way they all can agree on. She really is like the heart of the group who keeps everyone together, presenting a lot of wisdom and honor, and with the Smash Then Rebuild line, it helps puts the yak culture into a new perspective. It shows how they can actually be a lot smarter than we think. Yona really is just the best of the students, and I'm really glad that the show took the time to flesh her out so well. There's also this alternative way that people have looked at this moral, seeing it as a metaphor for losing something that brought great memories, and how we can come together to make something to remember it by for future generations. Obviously, this led to people think of this as symbolism for the show ending, and I'll admit it comes across as pretty cheesy, but it's not exactly a bad thing. I guess the fandom could see this as the show telling them it'll live on inside them because they did help make it more amazing and popular than it ever was before G4 started. It will still be there to share with future generations after it's all over, and we'll still have all the friends and happy memories we made because of it. This probably isn't what the tree meant by saying it would be a safe haven for them to bond and share with others, but I suppose it's not the worst thing to take from that message. So yeah, all of the students get some pretty good writing. All except for one. And that's Sandbar, who continues to be the low, bland tier of the group. Even if that's the point of his character for the non-pony characters to stand out against, that doesn't make the episode more interesting to watch. He just comes across as a huge dumbass in this episode. He literally takes the Tree of Harmony, one of the most important figures in Equestria, and just gets rid of it in a manner that sounds like he took it to the dump. He disposes of the resources that the students were going to use to make a memorial for the tree. Even if they were all misguided in some way, they still wanted to use it to make a memorial as their end goal. Sandbar just wastes it and replaces it with some twig. He's literally too dumb to realize how important the tree actually was by just getting rid of it. And even then, he doesn't get any smarter throughout the course of the episode. It's revealed that he didn't actually get rid of it, and at any time, he could have told them that he placed them in a wagon and put them in a corner. He knew exactly where it was and didn't bother to tell them what he did with it in the first place. This isn't the same Sandbar who cleverly played off Neisei's bias against other creatures, pretending to side with him, which allowed him to put together a plan to defeat Cozy Glow. This Sandbar is a blithering idiot. There's also the issue of the Tree of Harmony immediately coming back after it was just destroyed in the season premiere. This might have worked better if it happened later in the season, but to bring it back immediately in the next episode is just a really cheap ass pull. It undermines the stakes presented in the premiere because now there's no consequences for what Sombra did in that episode. In a sense, this does mean that Grogar was right about Sombra being dead weight and a huge and effective burden on his plans. He literally just made things worse for them. But it still undermines the weight of the tension that was being presented in the premiere, which is really a shame because it did have some really good presentation. And how exactly do you just glue the elements back together? You can't just glue the elements back together, you nut jobs! And what makes them so special that they can do it on their first try when Twilight couldn't do it? Those are literally ancient artifacts, not just some toys that you can easily fix. That is just stupid. Some people have also pointed out how this is Castle Sweet Castle 2.0, and how the premise boils down to the typical everyone has their own idea and wants to do it their own way thing. But it fits better here because the situation has a more believable setup. Unlike Twilight's friends who had a hard time understanding her after knowing her for 5 seasons, the students only really knew the tree for half a season and didn't have a lot of experience with it. And the ideas they had for honoring the tree weren't exactly bad ideas, except for Gallus and Sandbar, so they come across as less oblivious when making their mistakes. There's a song that gets the message across fine, but the singing itself is really not too good. There is one other scene that I really liked that outright subverts the whole just think positive thoughts and the problem will be solved tripe that usually passes as the solution.
Is it working? No. I guess the tree really is gone.
Ultimately, Uprooted is a nice episode that takes a break from the stakes of the season premiere and just goes with a steady slice of life route. And it still comes across as plot elemental, serving as both a singular episode and a smaller part in a bigger unfolding story. With a good moral, good character writing, and making Yona just the best, it's a satisfying follow-up to the beginning of the end. Looks like Season 9 really is on the right track to setting things right. This is Map, signing out.